Very good morning, selamat pagi, namaskar, and assalamualaikum. It is indeed my immense pleasure to welcome you all to this timely conference entitled India's Act East Policy in the Second Decade, Perspectives from ASEAN and India. At the outset, let me first thank our co-organizers, the High Commission of India in Malaysia, and personally, my dear friend, High Commissioner Reddy, for the support. We are truly pleased to have worked with the High Commission yet again on such a crucial project and look forward to many more collaborations in the future, near and afar. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the precipice of a pivotal time in Indian foreign policy. The second decade of the Act East policy will no doubt significantly shape the trajectory of India's relations with Southeast Asia at a time of geopolitical flux and new age global challenges, too many to enumerate. But let me attempt some broad strokes here. As the ramifications of climate change unfold before us with burning questions, no pun intended there, even as we're attempting to resolve the emergent crisis, we are now confronted and perhaps confounded with the rise, or should we say with the tidal wave of artificial intelligence, and don't forget quantum computing. And that is happening even before we are anywhere near overcoming the now so-called legacy issues of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It is therefore imperative that our ties more now than ever endure and gain lasting momentum. For a rising India, the Act East policy is both a tool and a testament to its strategic relationships in the Indo-Pacific, of which ASEAN is at the very heart. The Act East policy, which conceptions, of course, go back to the 20th century predecessor, the Look East policy, is rooted in four principles: culture, connectivity, commerce, and of course capacity building, all of which forms the very basis of India's enhanced ties with Southeast Asia in the last decade. India-ASEAN ties were elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership in 2022 at the 30th anniversary of dialogue relations, while within the last 10 years alone, India has signed CSPs with Vietnam in 2016, Indonesia in 2018, and with Malaysia and Singapore in 2024. India has a comprehensive partnership with Thailand, an enhanced partnership with Brunei. These partnerships are hence, in the most fundamental sense, the core manifestation of India's outreach and engagement in Southeast Asia via the Act East policy. What this means is that, to us here in Southeast Asia, the impact of the Act East policy rests on the extent of mutually beneficial and sustainable cooperation, dependent on both parties. And that is what we mean by a partnership of the willing. In this context, trade stands out as a key area of cooperation. It is self-evident that trade has been a central component of India's Act East policy-driven engagement with Southeast Asia. Of course, then you have Southeast Asia's history boasted by decades, if not centuries, of shared geography, demographics, cultural togetherness, and a convergence of many, many areas of civilization. Today, both ASEAN and India rank firmly among each other's top 10 trading partners. Further, in the last 2 decades, total two-way trade has grown by an average of over 15% annually, supported by institutional arrangements such as the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement and ASEAN-India Business Council. While these developments are encouraging, now is not the time to rest on our laurels. In fact, Nowhere is anywhere near the time to rest on our laurels. Now, despite being a comprehensive strategic partner of ASEAN, India's share of the bloc's total trade has stagnated around 2 to 3% in the last decade, lagging behind other key partners. Ongoing challenges include the underutilization of free trade agreements, non-tariff barriers, and complex customs procedures. What does this mean? It means that challenges can breed opportunity if approached with proactivity and open dialogue. ASEAN and India have considerable potential to deepen economic collaboration, particularly in emerging sectors such as semiconductors, digital trade, and green technology. Realizing this potential, meanwhile, requires sustained momentum in government to government, business to business, and of course, people to people exchange. In the words of the great Rabindranath Tagore, and I quote, "Everything comes to us that belongs to us if we create the capacity to receive it." But don't forget, he also added, "Give me the strength to raise my mind high above daily trifles." Gitanjali? Yes. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt, what we are considering today is no trifle at all. At the emergence of global South narratives in recent years, India has stood tall as a key mobilizer, encouraging partners to address shared challenges collectively amid uncertainties brought about by the dynamic geopolitical order. I was reminded of this fervor and spiritedness of enthusiasm in my participation at the Indian Ocean Conference in Muscat recently. I met many of our friends, mutual friends. We see this in the realm of sustainability, climate change, conservation, and disaster mitigation. The Act East policy provides an invaluable opportunity for India and ASEAN member states to strengthen collaboration on climate, environmental, and biodiversity issues in the years ahead. As countries of the global south, we share a profound responsibility to advance these efforts through innovative financing, technology sharing, and capacity building towards a greener, more equitable global economy. The impacts of climate change are most stark in the Indo-Pacific region. Rising seas threaten our coasts, erratic weather disrupts our food security, and resource depletion tests our economies. Yet, we do not wait for solutions. We pioneer them. Our nations are leading with action by scaling renewables, securing energy equity, and strengthening resilience to ensure that sustainability is not a privilege but a right. At the end of the day, it's not just about emissions, it is about agency. For example, Malaysia's commitment to net zero by 2050 and India's Pancharmit agenda demonstrates that we do not need permission to lead. From green hydrogen to biodiversity conservation, our nations are already shaping a new model. One where climate action is not imposed, but driven by the needs and aspirations of the global south. I am truly pleased that these discussions are taking place during an important year, not only for Malaysia as ASEAN chair, but the region as a whole. We are riding the interregnum, and our relationship with our long-standing partners like India, let me get this right, Bharat, yeah, will help us tide the times. Or as the Bard reminds us, this tide, if taken at the flood, leads onto fortune. Omitted, our voyage will be bound in shallows and miseries. Now, before I take and end my remarks, I would like to extend my profound gratitude to our esteemed role players. Once again, High Commissioner, all of you who have taken time to be here with us today. I'm certain that the expertise on the topic will help shape these deliberations and produce outcomes that support our policymakers. I wish you all a productive and engaging conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Faiz.